Samahani mtazamaji, hayo tu ni hitilafu za kimitambo, lakini nadhani unaelewa tu mambo ya kazi. Kwa hivyo usiwe na wasiwasi, tunaendelea na mjadala wetu, na kwenye studio tuko na mgeni wetu ambaye ni Kamau Kunyiha ambaye ni mkurugenzi mkuu wa kampuni ya Credit Info, na wanatuelezea mengi kuhusu mambo ya mikopo na vile mtu unaweza kwa CRB. Wakenya wengi sana wakisikia neno CRB wanasikia wanapata changamoto, matumbo zinakuwa moto, kwa sababu wakati CRB ilikuja watu wengi sana walikuwa wanaongelelea ni kama ni kitu ambacho ukiwekwa hapo maisha yako imesimama sasa. Karibu sana. Labda tu ujifahamishe kwa watazamaji, na tafadhali ongea lugha yote ambayo wewe unaelewa, maana yake tunataka kuongea na watazamaji wetu.
Asante Sofia.
Ndio.
Kwa majina vile umesema, naitwa Kamau Kunyiha.
Ndio.
Mimi ndio Regional Manager wa Credit Info East and Southern Africa region. Ndio.
Kwa hivyo cheo kubwa hiyo. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri sana, nadhani uko hapa leo alafu utusaidie kutufahamisha mambo kadhaa ambazo Wakenya wamekuwa kiuliza. Kama leo nilikuwa natembea tu barabarani na nikapata wale watazamaji wa TV47 na nikapata kuuliza, je, ni pesa kiwango kipi ambacho kinaweza kukufanya mtu uwekwe katika CRB? Labda tu tuanzie hapo.
Kwa nijibu na Kiingereza.
Ndio, ni sawa.
Kwa hivyo according to the law, when it comes to credit referencing, I think maybe I should elaborate on what the purpose of the referencing was.
Ndio.
The idea behind it was so that lenders can be able to assess an individual on their ability to pay. So what was agreed is that when you take a loan, that loan that you have taken is reported to the bureau to say Sophia has taken a loan of 10,000 from Bank X. And as you pay, they update and show that it has come from 10,000 down to 500. So what the bureau does, it reflects the true and realistic position of your facility with the bank. Yes.
Kwa hivyo tu like CRB ni shirika ambalo linaonyesha vile ambavyo kama umechukua mikopo inaonyesha okay, Sofia alichukua mikopo katika kampuni hii ya shilingi fulani na fulani, na kufikia sasa amelipa ama bado hajalipa.
Exactly.
Kwa hivyo sio kitu mbaya.
Sio kitu mbaya.
Kwa hivyo mtu yote
anaweza kitu ya kusaidia the borrower.
Mtu yote.
Yes.
Sasa swali moja tu kwanza. Watu wengi wamekuwa kiuliza, je, CRB is it enough punishment kwa wale ambao wanachukua mikopo? Manake labda unaweza kutuelezea kidogo kwanza, kuchukua mikopo je ni kitu kizuri au ni kibaya?
So borrowing is not bad. It depends on what you're using it for.
Yeah.
You know, and it's you borrow because you need the capacity to complete something. That you don't have the cash flow to be able to meet what it is that you're going to complete. That will enable you to earn money to pay back what you borrowed and continue earning from it. So for example, I want to buy, I have a shop but I need stock to be able to sell because we are coming close to Jamhuri Day. A certain area will be very busy, and you need more stock because there will be more people walking past there. They need more sodas, mandazis and things like that. So you could borrow, so you could buy sufficient stock to meet the demand that you're expecting, and you'd be able to resell your products and pay the loan with a facility. So when you use credit in that way, it is good. It's a facility to enable you to be able to meet a certain demand in the short term, or in the long term, depending on the loans. So if you use credit in that way, it is good. But then you do have people who misuse it. Yes.
Okay, so let me ask, is CRB, my first question, is CRB enough punishment? Yani, je, ilo ni adhabu enough for those who are borrowing and not paying back? Because kuna mtu ambaye tulikuwa tunaongea na yaswa vijana, unajua watazamaji wetu wengi ambao tunataka kuwafikia ni wale vijana between 18 to 24. So hao ndio wanajulikana sana kwa kuchukua mikopo. Na je, alafu anapatiwa, unaambiwa ukichukua mikopo utawekwa katika CRB listing, na ukiwekwa katika CRB listing utakosa kupata nafasi za kuchukua mikopo in the future.
So it's not a punishment.
Ndio. Si
Like I
punishment.
said, no. Like I said, it is sharing on your past performance on paying loans for other people who are lending to know, is Sophia a good person to lend to. So I'll give you an example. Let's not even look at a bank. Think about your brothers and sisters or your cousins. If you have a cousin, you give 1,000 shillings and doesn't pay you. And then another cousin gives him 1,000 shillings and doesn't pay. If he goes to the third cousin, will he be given?
Hakuna. Huwezi pewa, utasema ule jamaa huo
But if
hapa
he paid all of
narudisha.
you, you'll get 1,000 again.
Yes.
So it's not to punish you, but it's to actually
just
show the
kushare
character of the
information.
person. Yes.
Wacha nitamwelezea director wangu Jackie. Nimwambie kuchukua CRB si kitu kibaya, manake kabla uketi hapa nilikuwa najua CRB mambo moto. Je, tunaweza sema ni nini au ni kipi ambacho kinafanya vijana wengi wanaekuwa katika CRB?
Not paying. It's as simple as that. It's borrowing money for a purpose that was not for the wrong purposes. But even as I say that, I'm not saying it's for everyone. You know, there are some people who could try some businesses and the businesses don't work out. That happens. Those situations happen. And even in the report that we showed earlier on today, we showed that even there are those people who are still negatively listed, they didn't pay, but after some time they're given another chance. And there are people who are still lending to them. So it's not doom and gloom because you've been listed, but I'm not saying that default you'll get another loan. If you default, the chances of you getting another loan are limited. So make sure you're borrowing a loan knowing that you'll be able to pay. Yes.
Okay. Aya, sawa basi. Ni nani ambao wanaweka, tunataka tu target vijana, ni nani ambao anaweka, who are the lenders that are putting the youth in CRB? Maybe those who are borrowing. My question is it these mobile apps? Is it the banking sector? Who are more likely? Because kuna mtu alikuwa ananiambia watu ambao wanawekwa sana, kampuni ambayo inaweka vijana katika CRB ni makampuni ya mikopo. For example, tunatumia labda kampuni ya Atala, unapata ni wao ndo wale ambao wako tayari sana kupeleka majina ya vijana katika CRB. Ilhali ukiangalia kama vijana wakichukua katika mabenki, inakuchukuanga muda mrefu sana kabla uje kwa CRB.
So to correct the notion, every single commercial bank, if you're a bank and you give a loan, you have to report it to CRB. So every loan that is given by the bank is reported to the CRB. If you're not a bank, you have to get approval from central bank to report to the CRB. So CRB, they get information on all the loans that are given, not just the bad ones. So even the good ones. So the minute you get a loan, it is reported to CRB.
So haijalishi kama ni benki, kama ni mikopo ya mikono, kama
unless if you're not a bank and you have central bank approval, your name will be forwarded to CRB by that lender. Yes. So for example, Tala will report. Branch will report. Those are the big ones that most people know. Okash will send even the information to the bureau. Yes.
Kuna wale vijana ambao wanachukua SIM cards, wanaregister even with fake ID online. How can you rate this kind of people, and what is some of the things that measures ambazo zinaweza chukuliwa kwa watu kama?
Yeah, so that is fraud. Where someone has fraudulently gotten a number, or they get your ID and then they get a number and they borrow from that. What is critical there is with the lender that you are working with, that they do proper KYC of who they are dealing with. Know your customer. Is that really Sophia I'm talking to? Is that Sophia's number and everything? So that's where you find with a lot of these apps, you go through a process of registering so that they can determine, am I really dealing with Sophia or not, before they can actually give you the loan. Yes.
Unaona hivi majuzi, lately the government has been introducing other loans to the public, na especially the micro and small enterprises na vijana, for example kama Stawi, na wanajaribu kuwatoa katika hizi mikopo za mikono, mobile, mitandao. What is your take on that?
It's good. You see, what they're trying to do is to be able to target a particular segment with a need that is missing. So your micro and small enterprises have been missing out a lot on these facilities, especially since the interest rate cap came. So now they're trying to see how can we get more information about this guy who's a Juakali and he needs maybe 5,000-10,000 for him to be able to do his business and grow a relationship with that person. So it's actually to help those businesses grow further. It's getting more details of understanding. What trade are you in? How much money are you making? Can I give you more? Because sometimes I may be going to one of these mobile loans and only getting a small amount, not meeting the need that I want, because they are not finding out what my business is really about and how much more they can get, so that it can benefit my business. So I think it's a positive thinking for the micro and small enterprises with some of these new apps like Stawi. Yes.
Is putting the youth or anyone in business mwenye ameshindwa kulipa, mwenye ameshindwa kulipa mikopo, kumweka katika putting challenges ama vikwazo kwa huyo mtu ili kujiendeleza kibiashara?
We are helping them, like I said. The cousin who is paying back, the one who keeps paying back, if he goes and asks another cousin, he's always given because they know he pays back. If they don't know if you pay back or not, it'll be more difficult for you to get a facility.
But unajua kuna ile situation yenye mtu umeomba pesa, unajua utarudisha, alafu labda kitu kibaya kikakuhapenia ukashindwa kulipa back, alafu umeshawekwa CRB. Sasa inamaanisha jina lako imeshaharibika tayari?
Not necessarily. You know, we cannot start trying to deal with the exceptions to be the norm. The norm is the norm and the exceptions are exceptions. Look at them differently. And like I said, exceptionally, people we've seen being given loans even after they've been defaulted. And even then, we still see that they default again. So we know the norm, if someone is sincere about their borrowing, they borrow and they pay back. Wanatafuta juu chini ndio walipe. Yes.
Aya, sasa mnaweza weka wale wa mama nyoko kwa machama, unajua? Nilikuwa naambiwa na mwanadada mmoja ananiambia, Sophie, unajua sasa sisi tumeanzisha chama, alafu kuna wale wa mama ambao wanakataa kulipa ikifika time yao, wanaweza weka CRB?
Unless they go and get permission from central bank to report.
Hizo chama zijiandikishe kwanza, kwa sababu ni jambo ambalo labda kuna watu wanasikitika. Manake walikuwa wanaongea sana na passion wakisema kuna watu ambao tumeanzisha vikundi vya chama ili kujisaidia, they want to help, self help groups wanafungua hizi machama, and then people are being paid, and when their turn comes they are not paying.
Yes.
So hao wenye wanachukua chama za watu unaweza wa advise aje? Because this is money that has made transactions, but some of these people are running away. What can you advise some of these groups? Because it is reality. Unataka kuniambia hujui chama, sasa uko kwa chama?
Yes. You know, the reality is this, and that is why the CRB is good, is that you do have some people with the character of not paying back. And it is important to know who it is that you're getting involved with. So even these chamas, it's people of like-mindedness who get together, and it's important that you know each other. It's important that people are honest with each other, because people's situations can change.
Yes.
And they need to be able to have ways to be able to address those situations for people once they change. I mean, from an economic standpoint, things are not always consistent for everyone.
Yes.
So it's how does that chama deal with those situations where people are, from an economic perspective, have been impacted on negatively? Is there a way they can actually manage them? Because at the end of the day, I would like to believe these people in the chama are like-minded people who understand each other and can move forward. So I think it's more about understanding each other and how to operate in those situations. Yes.
Aya, juzi serikali ilikuwa watu HELB ilikuwa inaanika watu wenye wajelipa mikopo. Is CRB looking to do or to come up with such ways to like expose these defaulters?
From the time the CRB started, HELB has been reporting people who do not pay. So it's not something new. There have always been people in CRB from Higher Education Loans Board. Yes. That's them again telling people, by the way, your names are actually shared at the Bureau for not paying. But it has been there from the time the CRBs were first licensed.
So what are the punishments? What are the punishments? Like, okay, fine, mumenieka CRB, I'll be maybe bad from taking a loan for some, I've spoiled my credit. But what are some of the, you know, ninini ambazo, what are some of the things that these people can be punished for? Like, how can they be punished?
Other than not getting facilities, that's it.
There's
nothing else, yes.
I come to a bank, I take 5 million and then I go MIA, then I get bad credit. That's it.
It will show that you have bad credit, but then now it will be it's up to the bank to use whatever collection methods it can to collect the outstanding. So if, for example, if it's a loan that had collateral, that collateral can be auctioned. Yes, to pay back that loan and things like that.
Okay, so what are 5 things, vitu tu 5 ambazo unaweza ambia vijana wasifanye? What are some of those things that they need to do not to be put on CRB or not to have that bad credit?
You know, they say when it comes to credit, there are 5 C's.
5 C's.
One is character. Have a character that is noble, you know, upstanding. The other one they say is that you need to be able to meet the conditions. Now, bear in mind this was C's that came before digital lending came. So some of these things may not be that necessary now. So make sure that you meet the conditions of the lending that you're going for. Then the next one is capital. You know, do you have at least something? You know, you can't start from zero if you don't know where you're getting to repay something, isn't it? You must at least have some basis for what you're borrowing this information, this money for. And then I think the other one was capital, character, conditions. I'm trying to remember all of them. There's collateral.
Yes.
Collateral, that is, I think I can join it with character, because now because of sharing information at the CRB, your character can be used as collateral, because we can see you've been a trustworthy repayer. That can be used as collateral to repay back. And I think the 5th one is I said conditions, capital.
There is character, condition, capital, collateral. Those are 4.
I am missing one.
No problem. Moving on as we go on. So ulisema benki, you know, people have a notion that the bigger lenders are mobile lenders, watu wa mikopo za rununu za simu. Je, ulisema katika ripoti yako ya leo kuwa benki ndio lenders wakubwa wa hizi mobile apps. Unaweza kutuelezea kidogo?
Yes. Kwa hivyo basically, if we look at the number of loans that are being reported to the Bureau, majority of those loans are being reported from banks. And I think even if you were to line people up and you were to ask them, where do you borrow? I think most of them you'd know the ones they would come up with first. They would mention the ones which are mostly known, you know, the Mshwari, KCB, M-Pesa. Those are the ones people actually tend to mention more. And remember, when mobile lending started, I think it started about 7 years ago in 2012. The first lender was Mshwari, and that is one people have gotten to know more. Yes, since they've been around for a long time. 7 years is not short.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can say banking is the biggest mobile.
Yeah, the biggest lender. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Aya, sawa basi. Ukipata CRB unaweza kujitoaje? How can you get yourself out of CRB?
Okay, we need to be clear on removing. What is removing? You're not removing yourself. Remember, this is a record of your repayment history. Yes. So you don't remove yourself.
You remain there.
This is like your CV. You know, this is your CV showing how does Sophia borrow and repay. So you don't remove yourself. You build on it. You build your CV so that people can see what your character is in terms of repayment. There's nothing, I don't know why people like using that word of removing. There's nothing like removing. The only thing you can do is build on your CV. So build on your credit profile.
Yes.
Borrow, repay, you rebuild it, you get a better.
So you can actually rebuild your credit information.
Exactly.
Like after you start repaying.
Exactly.
It shows.
It shows that you're repaying, and you get a score that shows positive repayment behavior. So whenever you go to another lender, they can see you're a good lender, and you're more likely to attract cheaper loans or even a slightly higher facility, as long as you can show the capacity to repay that facility. Yes.
Na tukimalizia swali ambalo niliuliza la kwanza, the amount that qualify you for CRB listing, that amount ya chini ni kiasi gani? Because kutana na mtu aliniambia alichukua deni kutoka Mshwari, ama aliniambia vipi, akasema alichukua kutoka Mshwari na alijipata ameandikiwa message kwamba amekuwa listed CRB. 500 ni bei, ni pesa ambazo inaweza kuqualify mtu kuwekwa katika CRB.
Vile nilisema kutoka mwanzo. When you take a loan of 5,000, they report 5,000. As you go paying, They report you paid 4,000. So there's a balance of 1,000. So whether you pay that 1,000 or not, it will remain showing that it was 1,000. But what you took was 500, and it's showing what you paid and what you left out. It's not. They don't only put people who have not paid. They put loans for everyone who's taken. So there's no qualifying of an amount. The minute you take a loan, that loan is reported. Then they report the repayment of that facility. Yes.
Okay, sawa. Neno la mwisho.
I think it's important for people to understand that the Bureau is there to assist them access credit. You know, the example I used, it's very difficult to walk up to someone and ask them, give me 1,000 shillings, and they've never seen you.
Yes.
They need to have some history to know you.
Yes.
So that's what the CRB is doing. It's just a history so that any lender out there who you've never met, how are the banks meant to know who you are before they lend to you? So it's actually there to assist you by actually having a record for them to be able to understand, is Sophia a good person? Can I take a risk of 10,000 with her? Yes.
Kwa hivyo mtazamaji, vile umejulishwa leo katika studio yetu na mkurugenzi mkuu wa kampuni hilo la Credit Info, ni kwamba CRB si chumba ambacho unawekwa huko ili kupanishiwa. It's not a punishment for you to be in CRB. CRB tu ni kwamba mambo kukuhusu wewe, taarifa kukuhusu wewe inapeanwa katika kampuni tofauti, kama ni benki, kama ni kampuni za kupeana pesa ama mikopo, inapeanwa pale wakati tu muda wote ambao unachukua mikopo yoyote. Kwa hivyo mtazamaji, wakati wote unachukua mkopo, jiambie mwenyewe au jiulize, ujifanyie mwenyewe kikao, ujiulize, hii pesa nachukua ni shilingi ngapi na nitalipa vipi? Kwa hivyo ni vizuri sana uchukue mkopo, na hata kama umekopa mtu, kama ni jirani yako, rafiki yako, benki, kuwa tayari kulipa. Wanasema muda wote dawa ya deni ni kulipa. Siku njema.